Welcome to an Alive mini talk on being human. Today, I want to talk about this term called need shame. This is a common struggle that I reckon with and see daily in my office. It's this idea or knowing that our needs aren't being met. So often I ask my clients the question, what do you need right now? And oftentimes I'm met with a look of despair, frustration, or confusion. That thought or knowing could come with anger, resentment, or sadness, maybe even anxiety. A lot of the time, what we can come up with is we need others to do something for us. But we're disconnected from the core of what we need, the need that comes from within us. Most of the people, me included, who struggle with this are the ones that tend to others. They're most likely the ones who have spent their lives tuned into others with this idea or driving motivation that helping others, caring for others, putting others before you makes you a good person. It can also become such a part of your identity that if you can make other people feel okay, then you're a good person, you're worthy, and then you're okay. It could be that maybe you grew up in a family where it was modeled that it wasn't okay to be a burden, where others were critical or judgmental of, quote, needy people. So you learn not to share your needs, to save yourself from the hurt of that judgment. Or perhaps you were raised in a family where when you expressed any needs, they weren't met. So you stopped expressing them. Or maybe you even grew up in a family where one person took up all of the space, had so many needs that your role was really to be the good one, the self-sufficient one. While we can get praise for this, we can also be overlooked for this, being the self-sufficient one. Okay, here's the thing. I'm not into blaming parents or others. And my concern isn't that we place blame, but instead acknowledge the impact others' behaviors or the larger dysfunctional dynamic had on us. And it did impact us. It always does. And we have to be able to acknowledge the root of the wound to be able to change it, heal it. The reality is that many of us can feel shame for having any needs at all. But once again, we are human. Therefore, we all have needs. Beyond having basic needs of food, water, shelter, we all need to feel a certain way. Supported, loved, acknowledged, connected, the need to feel safe. And if we feel shame for feeling this way, we can easily attempt to get those needs met in a covert, unconscious, and probably manipulative way. We can easily be drawn into a codependent dynamic where we become the rescuer, the fixer, fixing for others, secretly hoping that they'll do the same for us, and then feeling resentful or victimized when they don't. I can tell you story after story of clients who grew up with an ill sibling, a sibling either mentally ill or struggling with addiction, and how their sibling took up all of the resources, sucked all of the focus. So the very best thing my clients could do as children was to develop coping mechanisms that made them okay, taking on beliefs that it was better to not have problems or need attention, to be good and strong. And that was how they made sense of their world. Or people who grew up with an ill parent, either a narcissistic parent, a mentally ill parent, or a physically ill parent. Or maybe even a parent who was overwhelmed easily. These decisions early on not to need anything are about survival. What is best for me Meaning underneath that, what do I need to do to try to not get hurt? And what is best for our parents or our caregivers? Meaning, I will be good, and they will love me for not being a drain on them. Regardless of how it takes root, what happens is that we lose touch with ourselves. We lose touch with essential parts of ourself that are connected to our well-being, connected to what brings us joy, what feeds us both emotionally and spiritually. And this can be devastating. I know for myself, there are times where I can still get caught like a deer in headlights when someone asks me what I need. The panic or frustration that can arise in an instant when I don't know. And yet I do know. And sometimes it takes a little bit for me to drop underneath of all of those feelings. To first stop the talk track in my head that is on loop, telling me, you don't know, or you shouldn't be needing anything. Why can't you fix this yourself? Or, now everyone will see just how needy you really are. Through enough of my own work, I at least know that in those moments when I'm flooded with those thoughts, flooded with those emotions, I need a moment. And that's a real phrase and we use in my household. It's a practice that I exercise again and again. At the very least, at those times, I need a moment to myself. And in that moment with myself, it may be that I release to make some space inside. Release some of those emotions to calm the storm of hateful words and beliefs running amok in my mind. Only when I make some space can I even begin to drop deep enough to feel into what I need beyond that. And when we get an answer, we can't disregard it. The need might feel way too big. So instead of disregarding it, we step into it. Ask for what we can that can get us closer. I don't know if you know this about me, but I am an extreme introvert. I require a lot of quiet time by myself. And I crave that time in every cell of my being. Don't get me wrong, I love people too. I love my family, my friends, my clients. I love teaching small or large groups of people. And I need time by myself. I don't even call it downtime. A good portion of the time I'm doing something. It took me a long time to recognize this is a true need, not a selfish whim. I don't need this time because I'm shy. I don't need it because I'm antisocial. But I need it because this is how I'm wired. This time by myself is one of those necessary ways I tend to my overloaded nervous system. How I make space in my fragile containment system. I have a need to feel loved, to feel connected, to feel seen and understood. Feelings. Really, when I say that, I mean fear and shame of being seen as too selfish, of being too needy, too greedy. I had to get to the place in my life where I stopped putting more energy into worrying about how others viewed me and shift into learning to accept this is who I am. And what I need is a part of who I am. Do I still get hooked, triggered, and forget who I am and what I need? Absolutely, because I'm human. We all have moments or periods of time where we forget. The beautiful part is that we can always come back to the knowing. And once you know, you can't unknow. In those big waves, all I have to remember is to stop and take a moment. That's all I need to step back on the path. In my office, I encounter plenty of people with shame around their needs. Time to oneself, needing resources you don't want to take from the family, needing money and time for the night away, the massage, the new bra that you desperately need but feel bad spending money on. Most of us have certain areas where we're okay expressing needs, and others where it feels shameful and selfish. Look around you, the people in your world, the people you encounter. Look closely at the people you judge harshly, the people who express needs that trigger you. This can be a mirror for us. I used to judge people who would take time out by themselves or with friends without their kids. That judgment came from me suppressing the need for really needing that time away from my family. I used that insight to help me start to identify what I really needed more of in my life. This is something to take a look at, again, something to just be curious about. Noticing the judgment and gently asking yourself if there's a part in you that is longing to be expressed, a need in you that is longing to be tended to. You see, I knew I needed time away. I just didn't want to be judged for being selfish, for doing it. But once I started to work with that part of me, I softened my judgments of others and with myself. Now I can make the declaration, advocate for others who also feel they need time to themselves, for themselves, and the judgment is history. And that is how it works. Shame grows in the dark. And the more we speak it, declare the things, the needs we hold in shame, the lighter we will feel, and the more space we can give to others to express their needs. Can you imagine if we all did this? If we could all clearly state what we need, how different would this world look? The problem is it takes being connected to yourself, to have the courage and willingness to drop into the discomfort and to try it anyway. If you've listened to some of the other talks or have been in my office, you've heard me say, ask yourself, what am I feeling and where do I feel it? The third part to that line of questioning is then, and what do I need? This is a wonderful practice to bring into your conscious awareness. What do I need? Sit with it. Ask it of yourself. Often, ask it of others. See what happens. What am I feeling? Where do I feel it? And what do I need? The self-compassion immersion here on the app is a wonderful portal to work with that need shame. Learning how to befriend yourself in a healthier way. Learning how to soften around any of the feelings that arise around these needs. So, thanks for listening. Bye for now, and more to come.